This is Radio 97. Our resident lawyer, Despina Priala of boutique law firm Priala Legal in Runaway Bay. She's here to offer her legal expertise by providing some general advice on the latest hot topics. She has experience that spans more than a quarter of a century. Actually, it sounds worse when you say it like that. In the area of property and commercial law, she also prepares wills as part of estate planning and litigation. She's with us right now. Morning, Despina.
Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, Book.
Good.
I was going to say it makes me sound old.
No, you just have a lot of wonderful experience and you're going to share it with us this morning as usual since it is Thursday. And today I love this segment because I think a few people are getting some fines in the mail and they don't know the rules. So we are going to break down the mobile and seatbelt cameras, the penalties, the fines, what to look out for and some points that you might not know. So Despina, this is perfect timing also because it's in the lead up obviously to the Easter weekend, which means double demerit points. So Des, where do you want to start?
So let's get into it straight away with Queensland rules. And I think we'll do a comparison very quickly with New South Wales because the rules are similar, but there are differences in penalties that apply and demerit points, which everybody wants to know. So it is perfect timing with the Easter long weekend coming up. And as most people would be aware, when you have a public holidays period, like coming up this weekend, it usually is considered to be a double demerit period. So definitely people should be listening up to understand how it works. But look, last year there were the new laws brought into Queensland, particularly about the use of mobile phones whilst driving. So there was a big campaign. There was a lot of notices given and warnings given to drivers. The laws are coming into place. But what I think is happening in the last, say, 3 to 4 months is I don't think that everybody understands the extent of the laws. So I suppose the first thing to say is it's logical, and I suppose most people know, you can't use your mobile phone in your hand and text and phone while you're driving. Mm-hmm. Yes, sounds logical and everyone should be aware of that. But the laws are a bit more extensive than that. So obviously these laws were brought in to clamp down on people that were driving while texting, which obviously is a big no-no and it's a big distraction. It can cause accidents and all sorts of things. But also the laws extend to this, and that is having phones on any part of your body resting. So when we talk about illegal mobile phone use in Queensland, we're talking about holding a phone or having it resting on any part of your body, for example, your lap.
Yep.
So I know people out there would be thinking, oh, yes, I do that when I drive. I don't use the phone. I don't touch the phone. But for whatever reason, I have it lying on my lap. Now, that is illegal mobile phone use, according to Queensland transport laws. So if you were picked up and you had the phone lying on your lap, or I suppose more significantly, if you actually got caught with the cameras that are in place in Queensland now that detect illegal mobile phone usage and also detect incorrect seatbelt wearing in your car, which is very important to talk about as well, then you'll get a fine in the mail.
And of course, this is something that we've seen a lot of. There's been a lot of publicity around this in the last few months since these cameras, these specially built cameras, were installed on the Gold Coast and, in fact, right throughout southeast Queensland and further afield. But they've also got the mobile versions of them as well. That they're moving around various big intersections across the Gold Coast, especially. And we're seeing, was it right that there were 37,000 people that were caught since these cameras have been brought in?
Apparently so, and a lot of money collected in fines, because we're going to get to the fines and demerit points in a minute, because they're quite expensive in Queensland, and we'll compare it to the New South Wales position. But yes, they have done that, and that's when I got to thinking, perhaps then people aren't aware of the full extent of the laws.
Yeah.
So they'll get this notice in the mail and they go, oh my goodness, I didn't realise I wasn't using my phone, but it was on my lap. Now, when we get into it a bit more, everyone should be aware of what a cradle is. So if you have a mobile phone, you take it into your car, you're supposed to have it in a cradle, not lying on your lap. So there was, I think, some examples given in the paper recently that someone, their cradle had broken and they hadn't bothered to get it repaired or replace it with a new cradle. Well, if that happens to you, given these laws, you have to get a new cradle immediately, particularly because, one, you can get pulled up by the police physically, but also of these cameras that are out there detecting your mobile phone usage. So you might say, look, I'm not a real offender. I wasn't texting. I wasn't phoning while I was driving. I wouldn't do that. I just had it on my lap. Well, that's against the law.
That's a no-no.
So you need to be aware of that. And even if the phone is off, so if the phone is not turned on, Queensland Transport says even if the phone's turned off and it's lying on your lap, it's an illegal mobile phone use.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, which I'm now nervous talking about this. I put my phone sometimes in my drink holder. That's probably a big no-no. Oh, no.
Well, no,
police,
because
I'm
the law
sorry.
says, well, the police says they don't give any specific details about what a cradle has to look like. So maybe it can be
I'm
a drink holder,
okay.
but exactly. But what they are specific on is it cannot rest on any part
Of your body.
That's right. So let's talk about the penalties. So
Yes.
it's $1,033 and 4 demerit points
Whoa.
for illegal mobile phone usage while driving. Yeah, so it's a big one. So you don't want to be breaching these laws in any capacity whatsoever. And learner drivers need to understand, of course, they lose their license immediately just after one mobile phone offence. P-platers can also lose their license after just one mobile phone offence. So it's very, very important to understand this. There are also fines and demerit points if you fail to wear a seatbelt correctly. In Queensland, it's $413 and 3 demerit points. And then as drivers, you can also be fined for each passenger that's not properly restrained in your car.
Ouch, that could add up, couldn't it?
Exactly right. And the double demerit points apply for repeat mobile phone and seatbelt offences committed within 12 months. So it's very hefty. And if we compare it to the New South Wales position, the New South Wales taken from their transport website this morning, the fine for illegal mobile phone use is $352 or $469 if you take it in a school zone. So quite different there with the penalties. However, New South Wales will issue a 5 demerit point penalty.
Wow.
Instead of 4 if there's an illegal mobile phone use. So those are the two comparisons with Queensland and New South Wales. And if you do happen to get a notice in the mail, there is a provision there, because they'll take if it's a photo taken by a fixed camera and you get that notice in the mail, there is provision there for you to actually go on the portal in Queensland anyway, and you can actually take a closer look at the image of who's driving, because if the notice has been issued to a company, because the car's registered to a company, and nobody puts their hand up as to who was nominating the driver, or if you just don't know because your logbooks aren't accurate for your business, you can actually zoom in and have a look at the image online as well, and you can nominate the specific driver. So the other issue I wanted to address is Apple CarPlay. So I have Apple CarPlay, and I know many people also have Apple CarPlay in their car. So according to the Queensland transport laws, it's about the use of your phone and touching your phone and making calls and texting. So if you're using Apple CarPlay, it's a touch screen generally. So as long as what the Queensland law says is if the phone is in the cradle, you can actually use it and touch it. Or you can use Siri to be able to use it. It's about holding it in your hand or having it on your lap or any part of your body that's illegal. So the same can be said then, I suppose, for your Apple CarPlay. It's the same type of system. You have a screen, it's a touch screen, and it's fixed, and you're not holding it. So there is no mention specifically in Queensland transport laws about you cannot use Apple CarPlay. What it says is that you cannot hold your phone and use it. You cannot have it on your lap or any part of your body and use it. But if you have it in a cradle, you can. So I liken that to Apple CarPlay. And I thought I'd mention that quickly for anyone interested.
Yeah, such a good point. So basically, if it's in the cradle or if you have one of those lovely fancy touchscreens in your car, you will not get done if you are an open license holder. Different rules if you're a P plater. So just don't let the kids touch anything while they're driving. Might be better. Thank you so much, Despina. And coming up next, a big change in the UK, their laws around divorce. It's following our steps here in Australia. So very interesting stuff. Coming up next on Talking Law with Despina Priala. Don't go anywhere.